Hello, everyone. Welcome to the newest episode of On the Couch with the Dogs Board, and most likely the final episode of 2021 holiday season. Today we have a special guest. He is the third martial artist that we've interviewed this year, and the second martial artist in a row. He also is a good friend of one of the previous martial artists that we've interviewed this year, but I'll let him explain that. He is a professional level stuntman who's worked on multiple big projects, graphic design artist, and as I already said, a martial artist. But I'll let him introduce himself the way he wants to, Mr. Stan Van Pelt.
Yep, name, as you said, my name is Stan Van Pelt. I am a second degree black belt in karate. I've been doing capoeira for about 16 years. No belt. I don't know if I really plan on getting a belt, and because of the way the art form works, some schools don't even do that. I started working in graphic design in like high school. I kind of don't do it anymore, so now it's just all art, and whenever I feel like it. I used to be a part of a rap group that was on its way to being something, and it kind of dissipated just because of differences. And I'm a stunt person, like you said. I've been in several different projects. I am a member of SAG. I actually kind of need to fix my IMDb page so that it's more accurate. I think that's all I can think of right now.
Excellent. So, I'm going to start off with what most people probably know you for. So, how did you get into the world of stunts?
I'm a martial artist, and that's how I got into stunts. My Soki being the person who is the head of a martial art style, the founder and whatnot, he knew a guy who was looking for someone to fit a certain look, and it was between me and the person you mentioned earlier that I'm friends with. It was between us for the role / stunt, and I got it. We both ended up being in stunts through that, but I got the part, and we've been doing that ever since. The guy's name who found us and was looking for somebody to fill, his name is Rick Fike. He's a big stunt guy here in Ohio, and is well known and respected amongst a bunch of different stunt people in that industry, apparently.
Wow. So you brought up your martial art history as well, which I love. But speaking of that, how did you get started in the world of martial arts in the first place?
Well, I guess some people don't consider wrestling a martial art, but it is. So I started at like 14. That would have been my first martial art. I've always looked up to Bruce Lee and the Power Rangers. I always wanted to do martial arts. But due to differences with my parents and just like their view, my mom's views particularly on that, I didn't start until I was 19. I put myself in a karate class. Well, with a class. My friends were learning capoeira in high school, and they showed me some. That's how I started with my capoeira journey. But I put myself in a karate class at 19, and I've been doing it ever since. Like I said, I'm a second degree, so I'm a teacher now.
Oh, so I should be calling you Sensei Stan or Sensei Van Pelt.
Yeah, I'm very lax about that. I don't have my students do that usually.
Okay, well, thank you, because one thing I will say is that I love hearing about black martial artists and them excelling within their martial arts journey. There's always been a stereotype that black people have always been associated primarily with capoeira or westernized boxing. So it's always nice to see that stereotype being broken. That because you said that you consider wrestling a martial art, which it is. So how much pushback, if any, have you gotten from the martial arts community concerning that?
I would say I'm not necessarily a part of the martial arts community because I don't like the political aspect of it. I've gone to events and stuff like that here and there, and I used to. My school actually used to host a tournament that was a part of one of the organization's national tournament, national circuits, and I would help like set up and stuff like that, but I was never a part of the grander scheme of things of that tournament as far as like the points for the national organization and stuff. And also because largely in America, depending on what version of karate you're doing, it's all based on, it's point karate. And if anybody watched the Olympics, point karate you can lose if you knock somebody out. So the better fighter might get punished. I understand self-control as well and like preservation of young people and everything like that. But I also don't like that it is glorified tag, and there are very bad habits that some people practice in point sparring, because they'll like do things that you would not do in a real fight so that they can get a point, which they would technically be sacrificing their well-being in a real fight.
I remember you explained that to me before, and I find that extremely interesting. But I also find it interesting, and I know our listeners and viewers will too. Could you maybe talk about some of the productions that you've been a part of, or any one of them you would like to?
The very first one I was in would be Criminal Activities. That was a pretty interesting experience, as it would be my first experience on set. And just not necessarily knowing all of the protocol and set etiquette yet. And like being taught while there almost, and like even now learning more about it and just looking back at like some of the things I did that weren't necessarily like damning to my career, but just stuff I shouldn't have done. Or could have handled differently. I would say also like Escape at Dannemora was cool because it was the first time I worked with a different stunt coordinator, and I was also put in a small leadership role, and even though like that didn't, it was interesting. It was just interesting to be in a small leadership role and like how it played out. And also the first time that I worked with a bunch of stunt people in a production. Like it was not just like me and my scene. There was like 40 of us or 30 of us all working on this giant scene. And that was different because you got to build camaraderie with people and you got to like get to know these people. We worked on that for like a week. And that was a very different experience from what most of my projects have been.
Wow. If you don't mind me saying that, I know you've been in a recent project that was very big and critically acclaimed called Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yes.
How was your experience working on that, if you don't mind me asking?
It was a very relaxed experience, actually. And sometimes it can be like that on a set where you're just waiting for when it's your turn up. I wasn't in a major stunt in that necessarily. So it was, I worked and I was there, and we still all have to play our part and make sure things are, if you're not paying attention, you can get hurt even in like the smallest of things. I don't know what to say necessarily. It was a nice experience. The director was nice. Cool. Everybody on set was cool. I can say that. And stunt coordinator was a pretty chill. No, okay, that's my biggest take back from that actually, is the stunt coordinator and talking to him, because he told me how he started his career. He saw Blade. He was fresh out of the military. He saw the movie Blade, and he was inspired by it. So he stayed and waited after, and actually looked at the credits and saw who the stunt coordinator was and the stunt people, and he contacted them and was like, because he decided that's what he wanted to do with his life, and he kept contacting them until he got in touch with them and just like got his way into the business.
Wow. It's funny that you mentioned Blade, because Blade revolutionized not just vampire media, comic book media, Marvel media, film media. It revolutionized media as a whole. Blade and the shadow that has casted over media as a whole, from things like the Matrix franchise, and even things beyond that, which has still been felt to this day. So I'm glad that you actually brought that up. But I want to segue into something which I know you're going to probably knew I was going to ask you about. You know, you are good friends, if not best friends, if I say this correct, with someone who we've interviewed twice. You know, he's been a very good participator within our interviews, and we always get great numbers when he participates. His name is Mr. Black Pauldron. Tell me your history with Mr. Black Pauldron and how you met him and things of that nature, if you don't mind.
I don't think it was exactly the first time I met Pauldron, but at my high school, we would spar on the front lawn. And one day he was just like, "Hey man, can I spar with you guys? I spar with you." So I sparred with him, and I tore him up. Like, I don't want to it was like no contest for real. And he's better now, so it's chill. Yeah, but I was also overzealous, and in the moment I like jumped up in the air after I like knocked him to the ground and like sat on him from like in the air. Yeah, so he was all right, but yeah, I just got real hyped. And that story isn't necessarily how we became friends, but that is like the first time we interacted with each other.
So, what has been your history like? Have you worked on him in different projects before?
Me and him worked in projects, in the same project. I mean, we weren't in the same scene, but he was also in Criminal Activities. I was in this Lifetime film. We were both in this Lifetime film, Surviving Compton. And we in something else together. Oh, he was also there for the Dannemora project, Escaping Dannemora.
Has your friendship with him increased the overall quality of the work that you two have done in association with each other, or has it just been regular in that regard?
I would say if we're doing like auditions or like practicing or something like that, we understand each other and we know each other's skill sets. We work with a group of people. It's called Team Stunt Predators USA. Okay. Team Stunt Predators USA. And there's a group of us. Like, everybody has different skills, and sometimes we will tend to like work with each other, and that isn't always the best. We should work with others and like get that grasp of skill as well, and just how to work with people. But we can put on a nice show because we understand each other's skill sets.
One thing that I remember him saying before is that the longer you all have been doing it, the easier the stunts become. So thank you for saying that. But talk to us about your graphic design work. I know they would love to hear about that.
I mean, I've done logos for like various local companies. that may still and don't exist. Some don't and some do. Used to do flyers for a bar that used to be around the Cleveland area. That was pretty popular, and people would do like open mic nights and poetry slams there. I am kind of working on a clothing line right now. We'll see where that goes and where I take that. I don't want to talk too much about it before I actually have it working. I have like my main logo is like this like a this Oni looking thing with a crown on it. It's called Apato Rex. I do just stuff that inspires me or looks cool to me. Is usually like swords, and whatever else have you. I've done the logo for my defunct rap group, which is Liquor Lab Warriors. It was like a bottle cap. People like that a lot or whatever. My design work is what I don't draw that much. I mostly do photo manipulation. I drew more when I was younger and I just got away from it. A lot of photography in recent years. If anybody goes to my Instagram, it's Apato Rex, and you can just see some of that stuff. Oh, I've done flyers for Lime, which is a telecommunications company in Jamaica.
Oh.
I've
heard about Lime.
I've done some graphic design work for a certain video game team that I have been working with on and off.
That team's logo will be in the video.
Ah, cool. I didn't do the logo though. It was a couple of different other people. I didn't do their logo. I've done stuff for them though.
What,
here's something cool. When we that team, we were here in Cleveland and we did a tournament for Hearthstone. Like an official tournament with chat lines and all that stuff. When we did that, we had different sponsors, and one of the sponsors was a local pizza company next door because they were letting us use their Wi-Fi because the card shop we were at did not have Wi-Fi. So I refinished their logo for them and put it in so we could put it on our banner on the website.
Do you want to say the name of the team so that the listeners know?
Oh yeah, it's Empire Arcadia.
EMP. Okay.
EMP.
With all of that being said, though, I would like to ask you about something that you brought up before. You said, how many years ago was it now? You used to be part of a rap group. Do you mind, if you're comfortable, talking about that at all?
Yeah, 8 years ago, or more or less, was a part of a rap group called the Liquor Lab Warriors. We were about to sign we were in talks of signing with a small label. There was also a large label. I don't remember the names of either labels that were interested in us and looking at us. Basically, we just had a couple of different issues.
Okay.
Yep. Had a couple of different issues with, what do you call that? Just business decisions, if you will. As far as music is concerned, I mean, we're all still friends too, but we actually did have a decently growing fan base. I know people who interacted with us from all over the country that were like fans of our music. It wasn't like a super huge fan base, but yeah, I met a person once from New Mexico, and he was telling me like, yeah, man, I heard of your group before. I heard your music, which is actually makes sense because at one point there's a producer named Beautiful Lou, and he lives in New Mexico, and he's produced some big names. He's produced some big name artists who are currently famous, and he basically told our main producer, like, we were next, and we were going to blow up next, and then we kind of just kind of stopped.
Well, who knows what the cards may hold? Maybe by this time next year or whenever we do the second interview, you'll be the next big rap artist.
I have been on again, off again, working on an album, but I don't really see it. My rap style wouldn't get me popular. I'm more of very much a backpack rapper. Whereas some of my friends, I could see them being big. Their style fits the current day popular motif.
Okay, well, it's always nice to have multiple things going on. That's part of the reason why I interviewed you. I love hearing when young black men, even young black women, have multiple things going on, be it an entrepreneurial standpoint or a hobbyist standpoint. And I'm glad that you are excelling in that in multiple ways. But I've reached to the end of my questioning. Do you have anything you would like to ask me or say to me or say to the viewers?
Thanks for thinking of me as somebody interesting enough to interview.
Of course.
I hope the way I was speaking wasn't too broken up and boring or dry or anything. It's just I had to think, So I hope it's an interesting interview that people enjoy.
Of course. I know especially they love hearing about new stories and new people and people who serve various roles in the lives that we live every day. But on behalf of the Dogs Board, thank you for being one of our supporters, our staunch supporters on social media. This applies to some of our other guests we've had on the show too, including Black Pauldron at times and so on and so forth. But thank you for that, because if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be able to have the ability to interview people like you, or for it to have a certain amount of people to even pay attention to watch or listen to it. So thank you.
Okay. Well.
So with that being said, thank you everyone for listening. As always, this video or this interview will be on our download and streaming platforms first, and the video version will be on YouTube soon after that. But if that is all, Dr. Clark,